Welcome to Married to Movies. Industry insiders John Russell and Tracy Kring live and work happily in cinematrimony. They're sharing behind-the-scenes adventures of writing, producing, and appreciating films.
Good morning, babe.
Good morning, babe. How you doing?
Doing good. Well, we're having a lovely breakfast of some fruit salad.
Yes, this is fruit that was going past its prime, and you need to put it all together before it goes bad.
And it's good that we're just having fruit this morning because we had the stuff you wanted yesterday.
Oh, man, that was good. Ugly chicken, Korean fried chicken. I don't know, have people had Korean fried chicken? Is it like a thing that most people know about?
I think it's been around. They have realized that it's actually more of a specialty item. Whereas, you could have gotten fried chicken, for a long time. But they're like, oh, this is a unique take on fried chicken that we should kind of make more specialty.
I'm not sure what makes it really Korean fried chicken. I mean, what is it that's different than the Colonel? It's crispy. That's one of the big things. Is it's super crispy. But the flavors, man. Oh my God.
Well, it was lovely, and it was just enough spice to, get your nose a little activated.
It was sweet and spicy and garlicky, and
whenever I eat out, I like to eat foods that I can't make at home.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really going to choose to eat at Olive Garden. I can make a big salad, and I can make most of those dishes on my own, and they're going to be better and healthier than God only knows what they're putting in theirs. I could not make that chicken yesterday.
I got on a couple of phone calls yesterday with long going projects. What we've really learned is that you have to you have the immediate thing that you're working on, whatever you're doing right now today.
Right.
And then there is what you're working on that's a little bit longer term, in a couple of months, something like that. And then you have your
long ball
years from now. I have a couple of those. One of my most frustrating things in my life is whenever somebody says to me, "Oh, I thought you weren't interested in that anymore because I didn't hear from you."
Oh, yeah.
Because that's my fault.
Right, you lost that opportunity.
Right.
Just because you didn't send an email every couple weeks.
Send an email or have a phone call or something to just kind of keep you in the mix of, oh yeah, this is someone that I know. This is someone that I haven't had an opportunity to work with yet, but I would like to have an opportunity to work with. And this lady who I am friends with, I believe I met her through Lunch Club for the first time. Yeah, so it's been a pretty long period of time. And she's always talking about 4 or 5 different projects. And one of them will sort of move to the front and the others will fall back, and she'll start working on that. And then that one will kind of fall back, and then another one will move to the front. And it's a constant, dance with her to find out which one of the projects has momentum.
Well, and that's the thing. Whichever thing is getting traction, you go with that movement.
Right. The projects keep moving around, but they don't actually, seem to coalesce. They don't seem to come together. What's your way of sort of making that determination? Is this still a viable thing?
Well, I guess I also kind of survey the times and make sure that the idea is still fresh. Because honestly, I'm not even going to keep it in rotation if it needs work to be refreshened.
I have a lot of fear of sort of magical thinking, any form of
that's your religiousness.
Yeah, no. It's not my religiousness.
It is though.
No, I want to avoid that sort of idea, and I feel like conspiracy theory, a lot of it can be based in sort of there's this big dark evil whatever in the world, and it's trying to destroy us all for what purpose we don't even know.
I think it makes life interesting.
I think it's ridiculous.
Look, King James commissioned the Bible to be written, and also had a book on demonology written.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I mean, you want your You want a little weird in your life.
I can see what you're saying. I can see what you're saying.
A little something just to make you think, like, none of this is figured out.
Well, I do enjoy, what I find besides just the weird, I enjoy sort of going down the rabbit hole a little bit of people and artists and things like that I don't know a lot about. Like yesterday was, I believe, the birthday of Dorothy Parker. And I started to read up a little bit and saw some of her quotes and stuff. And, we all know about like Dorothy Parker and the Vicious Circle, that she had the Algonquin Round Table, basically a bunch of really cool people who would sit around together and talk philosophy and talk shit about people. Right. But she also was a writer, screenwriter, which I did not know that.
Oh.
And she's one of the writers of A Star is Born.
Oh, interesting.
So A Star is Born, which is a movie that has been made and remade and remade, comes from sort of that, very funny, kind of cynical world of Dorothy Parker, which I thought was really, really interesting. And she was also a giant alcoholic.
Well, I had a really cool triumph yesterday. A documentary that I've been working on for... I think I signed the initial contract at the end of 2018. Mm-hmm. They did a festival run. They took it from a feature-length film to a cut-down 5640 for PBS. In order to actually get it into distribution, the producer has been going through a lot of legal. And typically whenever, you go for your errors and omissions insurance, you have to prove your sources and, you give them all of your information on your archival and all that.
Right.
The lawyer he's hired is a really good lawyer. And maybe, there's doctors who'll give you prescriptions if you pay them $75. Sometimes when you're getting your E&O, these kinds of lawyers are also getting hired. Like, pay me $300 and I'll sign up on your film. But if crap hits the fan, they're gonna be nowhere.
Yeah. So this is a lawyer who's dead serious about everything.
Well, all of his points are, everything always comes down to, what would my argument be in the courtroom? Can I defend this decision?
And a lot of this has to do with the rights of music.
Well, it is a doc about musicians,
right,
and they're playing music in it. Now, most of the music is very old. It is Beethoven, it's Grieg, it's Mozart, it's,
right,
very old music. Years ago when they first started filming, they filmed a concert, and they knew that they were not going to be able to get the rights to the music. They just told me as the editor, don't use any of that.
Were they filming just to have B-roll, just to have extra footage?
They liked the behind the stage stuff,
right,
and the rehearsal stuff I could use.
So this is just extra. Oh, by the way, this is an extra concert you can't use.
Right. They just filmed it.
Right.
Because they were there. We're having these legal issues with some of the songs. So I had to take out 4 to 5 pieces of music that we originally thought we could use. And the lawyer's saying you shouldn't use it anymore. So the producer was pretty upset.
Oh, absolutely. You're creating holes in what you've already, thought was finished. I mean, that is very upsetting.
And also he's really in love with the movie.
Right.
And he always tells me, that he thinks what I did was a masterpiece, and he hates chopping at it with an axe. You want an editor who actually knows the business,
right,
who can come up with ideas to help you, because a producer may not necessarily have every good idea necessary to get something done.
Right.
So I'm sitting there and talking to him about our options, and I was like, look, let me just take one more pass at all of the musical footage. I had a sequence of all the music. I saw that piece that I was never supposed to use, and I don't know, it was the perfect style, it was the perfect tone, it was the right vibes,
right,
because I had 4 different vibes of music I had to cover.
And you asked him, what is that song?
I said, okay, look, I've found a little trove of music, like
Right.
about 20, 30 minutes of music. It's perfect. What is it?
Right.
I was just told never to use it. He was like, holy crap. He was like, we actually, because we use a piece of this music from like a CD later,
Right.
we actually secured the rights from the composer, and we can use this whole opera.
So this whole piece of music that was unavailable to you actually really was available to you now.
And it's like saving the movie. And
And-
he, I don't know if he cried.
You told me he cried.
Well, it sure sounded like he got pretty emotional because he admitted he was just kind of shocked that I had, I don't know, taken the time or found the solution or whatever. But he was just kind of like very verklempt. And like, you know, he had been depressed ever since the lawyer had shut it down,
Yeah.
you know, and he was just ecstatic. So that was really cool because that's a win. I just thought to myself, you know, whenever you're competing for gigs, you know, and you're doing quotes and you feel like you have to compete, like how cheaply somebody else will do something. And it just reminded me of my own worth.
Right.
That not every single editor in the world is going to fight for a project and foster and advocate and care.
Well, it reminds me of like whenever you watch those like World War II or World War I movies or whatever, and they always have like all of the generals that are in the tent, right? And they're all like huddled around a map or something, and they're, you know, and they're trying to figure out the problem, they're trying to figure out the battle, whatever. Outside the tent, you have a bunch of soldiers. These are people that are going to do whatever those generals decide to do. You want people that are in the tent, okay? Whenever you are hiring somebody, an editor or an AD or you want as many people in the tent as possible because they have a vested interest in how this is going to work out. How many souls are we going to save in this battle? A lot of people basically treat everything and everyone like they're just a soldier for them. You know, they're a tool that they use, and you are basically, you're in the tent by yourself.
Right. and you're looking outside of the soldiers and saying, hey, I need some help here. And they're like,
Soldiers are like, I don't do that. That's
tell us
not what
what
I
to
do. Yes, exactly.
Just tell me what to do.
Yeah, and pay me to do it.
And it's like, I don't know what to do, you know. But it was really cool because I have been on the project for so long, and I have, you know, gone through lots of iterations and lots of fixing things and,
Yes.
and editing things that are not even the movie.
You have to be careful that you don't get so concerned about your daily bread, about like making your money, that you're really not caring that much about, I guess, your portfolio, like what you're creating.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a thing you can get into, and I mean, like, you can make money. Like, you can absolutely make money, and you can, like, even if I work on like corporate stuff, I hate to think that there's some sort of elitism between, like, you know, people who are working on films as opposed to people who are working corporate or people who are working in doc. You know, as long as you're
Completing.
completing stuff, you're learning new things, you're, you know,
You're adding your flavor to it too.
Right.
You know, I remember you did a bunch of corporate work, and it was on dentistry. It was on.
It was for the dental market.
Right.
Yeah.
But you were really proud of the work because you had learned a lot about graphics and a lot about how to create visuals and things like that through that process.
I think I brought a narrative flair to that corporate stuff. It wasn't just some cookie cutter that somebody would churn out, you know, basically a high class PowerPoint presentation. You know, I really focused on bringing story and heart to dry dentistry corporate information.
So here's a question. Do you have to care for it to be good? I mean, can you just basically despise a project and still make it good?
I think you can.
Okay.
I think you can. The problem is sometimes it's the people that you're working with that are making you despise a project.
Okay.
You know, and to me...
Let's not name names.
No, to me... And I'm thinking of a specific thing, but to me, whenever someone is so just sold out to the way they want things,
Right.
but not because it's the best idea, just because they feel like they should have the ultimate say, and you provide them with options and alternatives and ways to do something interesting, and they want it their way. That can be really creatively frustrating.
Yeah, just the notion that if something is not coming directly from my mind, that means that in some way it's less.
Well, and it's like ego and control.
Right.
It's like
Ego is the enemy of art.
It's only if it's coming from me, you know, if it's my idea, that's the only way that this is actually mine, which is like so not what filmmaking is. It's collaboration. You know,
100%.
It's taking other people's ideas and translating them through yourself and creating a new product. I actually worked with a director on a documentary for a while. At the end of it, they showed it around and it was not getting a good response. Meanwhile, one of my other documentaries was on PBS, and the director tuned in and watched that. Mm-hmm. So they came to me and said, I saw your other documentary on PBS.
Right.
It's amazing. Mm-hmm. And my documentary is not.
Right.
And I have to think that I'm the problem in this. And I want to just hand it back to you and have you do what you would do.
100%. That was exactly the right way to look at that.
Thanks to our sponsor, Movie Mode Merch, the graphic t-shirt store to outfit you for your next film set. Be the person wearing the t-shirt everyone asks, hey, where'd you get that shirt? Cast and crew alike love these inside jokes and filmmaking-inspired designs. Check them out on Insta at Movie Mode Merch.
I had all these notions, you know, to make it more entertaining, to make it more, you know, visual, and I would always get shut down. So,
right.
You know, I did fix it, and then they came back, and then we fixed it, you know, the rest of the way together.
When somebody shows you something and it is in a amorphous state, you know, whether or not it's like a first cut of something, more likely than not, they're going to show you a script and they're going to ask you, here, what do you think of this? What you say at that point is so important, because the most useless thing you can do is just say, I like it or I don't like it.
I was talking to this guy that asked me to read a script, and I was like, you know, I'm sure that you've got plenty of feedback like, I like it, it's funny, you know.
Right.
I'm sure you've heard all of that. I'm not going to tell you that. I'm going to tell you the feedback that I would appreciate.
Right.
Like somewhere that I saw that the character was acting in an inconsistent way. Some questions I had.
Well, yeah, there was a moment in a recent script that I read where a character said, don't give me the silent treatment. And you pointed out that they had already spoken. So it was kind of like, it didn't make sense. So you needed to start the scene with the character saying, don't give me the silent treatment. And then the other character could speak.
Well, don't talk for like 2 or 3 pages and then say, don't give me the silent treatment.
Right.
Say the silent treatment thing first.
Or you could just basically assume that those 2 or 3 pages happened beforehand. And if you're just like driving around and then you have 10 seconds of silence and then the character says, when are you going to stop with the silent treatment? The audience understands what happened.
No, not really. Because the other pages would had to have been them having some sort of disagreement.
Right.
That would lead to a silent treatment.
But you could say in the rest of the scene, you can basically allude to the fact of what was already described.
Well, I would lead off with a silent treatment, or I would cut the line because it's useless.
I mean, right now, I believe I have like 4 or 5 different scripts I'm supposed to be looking at for different people.
I'm always supposed to be reading a script to
I
give
know,
feedback.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. first of all, separate myself from the fact of, do I even like this or not? Like, is this my kind of thing? Okay, because that doesn't really matter, you know?
No.
I mean, whether or not...
You're judging it based on the thing that it is,
Yes.
not the thing that you like or the thing that you want.
I have nothing to do with that. You know, is this my, genre or whatever? Setting that aside, I just want to get the person thinking. I just want to get them kind of considering, okay, in the last feedback I gave, I said, what is sort of the through line? What is the backstory? What is it that you're trying to say? And I gave her like a list of questions, like, could it be this question? Could it be this question? Could it be this question? I don't know if any of those are what she had in mind, but what I want to get her to do, is to consider that. Then she will go off on her own. I'm not a co-writer, so all I want to get somebody to do is just, sometimes you're just kind of like, okay, I've gotten up to this point, and it's sort of like the end of Castaway. Do I go left, right, right or center? And you're sitting in the middle of the crossroads, and all you want to do is basically let the person know what could be, the different directions. That I believe that's what happens with the lady in the truck. Remember, he asks her, and she says, "Well, if you go this way,
right,
it'll take you all the way to Canada. You go this way,
you can go to town or
yeah,
whatever."
Exactly. But he should have gone back the other way, because she was the lady with the angels, and they probably should have ended up together. But that's...
Is that the point?
I think that's the point.
I thought it was just to symbolize that he was on the right road. He was finally where he was supposed to be at the moment he was supposed to be there.
Well, that's not the way I took it. I took it that basically that he didn't know where to go. That basically he had been broken. He had been broken by what had happened to him, and now he was still adrift. He was still stuck on an island.
Absolutely. But now he was going to actually go with what life had in store.
And he should have followed the really pretty lady with the angel wings on the back of her truck.
The ultimate goal in life is just to hook up with some chick. God.
The ultimate goal in life is to find someone.
Whenever he
to
comes
find
back,
a connection.
when he goes to Helen Hunt's house,
right,
and they have this, it's like a movie into itself. It's kind of broken off from the style of the rest of the movie even. Mm-hmm. And the rain and giving him his, Bronco back or whatever. And
right.
that whole section is so beautiful and heartbreaking and complex. Mm-hmm. I love it.
And here's the thing. Sometimes you're reading a script and it becomes like, you read
Torture?
like 10... Yeah, it becomes torture. Yeah, you're reading you start with 10 pages and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this anymore.
This is the first 15 pages. It's like the first few seconds of a song.
Right.
If you're giving me something that sounds really boring, you can't dance to it. It's like dissonant.
Right.
Like, why? It's the first 15 pages. It should be the best pages in the damn script.
That's a really interesting analogy that you just almost made. But let me.
You were almost really eloquent.
You almost nailed it there, because I just saw that. If you imagine that when you start a song and the song is establishing a groove, it's establishing a beat, it's establishing a mood. Okay, but what are you waiting for in that song?
The chorus.
Or at least the singer to start.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're waiting for the first verse.
Yeah. But you're
and then you're waiting for, and then if you get through all that, you get to the chorus.
Well, yeah.
And that's what those first pages are. You got to create this mood, you got to create this groove. And then I have to care, like, what is this song about?
Where is this going?
Yeah.
I want to hear more.
Right. And then I need a hook.
Yeah.
I need a hook with a chorus.
Yeah.
And if I don't like the hook, I'm probably going to be like, I don't think I want to keep listening to this, or I don't want to keep reading this. We use terms like, okay, good writing, bad writing, this script is trash, whatever.
Connective.
Yeah,
does it connect with your audience?
Yeah, is there an emotional connection? Is there a character that I care about.
A friend of ours, who we've worked with, his new screenplay starts with just a great scene. It's just an iconically great scene, and the whole first section, don't say or don't try to figure out who.
No, I'm trying to figure out who it is. Yeah, I was reading a short film, and it was by a screenwriter who had written a feature that I think is fantastic, but for some reason, in this short film, which had kind of a little bit of a Rod Serling vibe to it, everything felt like it was all trying to get all this information out. And that's one of the ways that you can really judge bad writing in anything, is when there is an agenda. And all of a sudden, everybody wants to, well, we got to say this, and you've got to give this little piece of backstory, and all of this has got to, yes, absolutely.
You know it when you see it in a script or in a show or in a movie, where the characters only ever say what's absolutely necessary to unfold the plot.
Right.
And you're just like, these are basically plot robots.
We call, Tracy and I call it on the nose. You know.
Well, it is on the nose.
Yeah, it's like exactly.
We don't call it on the nose. It's on the damn nose.
It's on the damn nose. Okay? Like a rubber nose for a clown.
Yeah.
It's very obvious.
I also had a call at like 10:45, and it was a friend and someone that I help, I guess, kind of as a mentor from time to time.
Right.
I've also like hired her to work on our sets, and she's putting together a pitch deck for something.
Right.
And she's got a producer, and the producer had given her a bunch of notes on the pitch deck, and I don't know who this producer is, but I disagreed with like all of it.
Oh, geez.
Well, I mean, if you're gonna write it, once you have the idea or write the script or whatever, you have to promote the idea. So you have to have like your pitch deck, right?
Well, a pitch deck is almost like, imagine if somebody tells you, okay, we want a pitch deck for something. That's like saying we want a graphic novel, okay? And people are going to have different tastes
Well, they
of
don't
what a graphic novel is.
They don't want a novel.
Yeah, but they want visuals. They want, but some people want more visuals, and some people want more description, and some people,
The thing is that what happens, I think, is that the pitch deck has to be interesting enough about your idea and the kind of artist you are to make them want to read the thing that you created first.
Right.
It's like a trailer for a movie.
Yeah, it's like everything leads to everything else. You start with the title. Okay, the title, that makes me interested enough. Now I go down to the log line.
She had been given,
that has me interested. Now I read the synopsis. Okay, that's got me.
Okay, who's involved? Are they any good?
Right,
What have they done?
And then the synopsis leads me to the pitch deck or the lookbook,
So we ran the concept through ChatGPT and asked it for 20 show names.
Right.
And we actually came up with one. It had good alliteration. It was a cool name. And I was like, look, you don't have to commit to the name right this second.
Right.
We just need something for the pitch deck that's representative.
Right.
As the project goes,
right,
you may decide to change it.
Yeah.
This is not a marriage. This is just a tentatively titled situation.
Yes, exactly.
So, and I don't know why this person gave her the advice that she couldn't use pictures from other things because she didn't have the rights to them.
Oh man, that's stupid.
Yeah, that's really stupid.
That's massively stupid.
I've seen pitch decks for massive films.
Huge films. Absolutely.
And they take stills from other movies.
Absolutely.
To say this is what we want our movie to look like.
Right. We were watching somebody's a reel, and all of a sudden there was like all of this stuff, and I was like, oh my God, what, they worked with this person and this person and this person and this person? And at the end it said, no, this was basically a sizzle for a potential of another movie.
And I am a Midjourney girl. Okay, I was an early adopter, and I'm sure they all have valid, reasons to be used, but I'm Midjourney. And it was like a 4:3 kind of dimension.
Right.
And I needed it to fill the whole screen. And I have the beta test version of Photoshop, which has the generative fill tool now. And I was like, well, you know, this comes up a lot. I mean, especially working with archival footage. Or, well, not footage, because you can't do video yet, I don't think. Which that will be the final frontier.
Oh, yeah.
When you can do generative fills on video.
Basically, that's when we have holodecks.
Yeah, we have a holiday. So, just the still photos that I was making in Midjourney, I put them over in Photoshop and was like, I just need this image to fill the screen now.
Right.
So, I did a generative fill and I was like aghast. I could not believe how amazing it was. It made me think of all the films I've made prior to this that had, let's say, like photos from the 1940s that didn't fill the screen. And you were always creatively trying to figure out a way for there not just to be black all around a photo.
Right. I remember what you would do on that particular project you're talking about. Is you would have a blurred version of the photo as the background, and then you put the photo in the middle of it.
Yeah, that became like a thing that was really popular on Facebook, or, you know, where you would, or like the Dodo, you know, some of those like viral videos.
Right.
They didn't fill the whole screen because they had been shot in the wrong ratio, so they just blew up and blurred the video behind it.
Right.
And now, like, people are like, they're totally against that. So,
but now it's expanding the photo. It's making the photo bigger. It's filling all of this space and all of the information in that did not exist.
Yeah, and not only that, but like you can replace things. You know, like I was working on some photos that my little sister had sent me from her wedding, where it's like a beautiful picture of her and her father's crying, but there's cars in the parking lot all in the background.
Right.
So, boom, refill that and make it trees.
There you go.
I mean, it's amazing, and I just was retroactively going through in my head all the ways I could have been using this.
Don't do it.
No, and I'm so excited for not only where we're at and all of the things I can apply it to now, but also in the future, knowing it's only going to get better.
Do not worry about the democratization of art. Do not worry about AI. Do not worry about any of it, because ideas rule.
Well, and I think it's cool that even people who it's out of reach for, it could be in reach of now.
I love that. That somebody who would have no opportunities, who has a brilliant imagination, can now actually show that and present that to the world. Yeah, that's going to create more competition. Absolutely. Okay? The playing field is going to be evened out for everybody. So get on your game and get better at what you do. Don't be a hater.
Well, on another podcast, we should talk about like finding the thing you are good at, the thing that's specific and unique to you that you're good at.
I think that's a good idea. Let's do that tomorrow.
It's hard not to get romantic about movies. Thanks for listening to Married to Movies. John and Tracy will meet you for breakfast tomorrow. Thanks to our sponsor, Movie Mode Merch, comfortable graphic tees made by and for awesome filmmakers to wear on set and off. Check them out on Insta at Movie Mode Merch.